In Santa Monica, California, John Form, a doctor, presents his expectant wife Mia with a rare vintage porcelain doll as a gift for their first child to be placed in a collection of dolls in their daughter's nursery. That night, the couple is disturbed by the sounds of their next-door neighbors, the Higgins, being murdered during a home invasion. While Mia calls the police, she and John are attacked by the Higgins killers. The police arrive and shoot one killer, a man, dead, while the female killer kills herself by sticking her inside the nursery while holding the doll. News reports identify the assailants as the Higgins' estranged daughter, Annabelle, and her unidentified boyfriend, both members of a cult. In the days following the attack, a series of paranormal activities occur around the Form's residence. Afterwards, Mia gives birth to a healthy baby girl. She and John name their child Leah. The family rents an apartment in Pasadena, and after finding the doll that John had discarded since Annabelle's previous attack in one of their boxes, another set of paranormal events plague Mia and her daughter. Mia calls back Detective Clarkin to gather information about Annabelle and the cultists, and learns that the cult intends to summon a demonic spirit. With the help of bookseller and fellow tenant Evelyn, Mia realizes that the cult practiced devil worship, which summoned a demon who followed the family after they moved to their apartment so as to claim a soul. Upon returning home, Mia and Leah are attacked by the demon who reveals itself while manipulating the doll. Mia and John contact their parish priest, Father Perez, who informs them that demons sometimes attach themselves to inanimate objects as an advantage to accomplish their goals, and that a human soul must be offered for a purpose. Without any hopes of exorcising the demon out of the doll, Father Perez decides to take it away to seek help from the Warrens for investigation. But before he can enter the church, the demon impersonating Annabelle's spirit attacks him and grabs the doll. Father Perez is hospitalized the next day, and when John checks on him, the priest warns him that after sensing its powerful presence, the demon's true intention is to claim Mia's soul. That night, while Evelyn is visiting Mia, the demon uses Father Perez's physical form to sneak into the apartment and abduct Leah for her mother's soul. To spare her daughter, Mia attempts to jump out of the window with the doll, but John arrives in time, along with Evelyn, to stop her. Evelyn decides to take her life in Mia's place instead, as atonement for causing a car accident that resulted in the death of her daughter Ruby years ago. As Evelyn lies dead on the road, the demon and the doll disappear. Mia and John never saw or heard of the doll again, and Leah is safely inside her crib. 6 months later, the doll is bought from an antique shop by a mother as a gift for her daughter Debbie, a nursing student, and is seen stored and locked away into a glass case in the Warrens' artifact room.
A dollmaker named Samuel Mullins and his wife Esther grieve for the loss of their 7-year-old daughter Annabelle, nicknamed B, who dies when she accidentally steps in front of a car. 12 years later, the Mullins open their home to provide shelter for Sister Charlotte and 6 girls left homeless by the closing of their orphanage. Despite having been warned to avoid B's locked bedroom, Janice, a young orphan disabled by polio, discovers a note saying, "Find me," and sneaks into the room, which has mysteriously become unlocked. She finds a key for B's closet and opens it, where she sees an eerie porcelain doll. This unwittingly releases a powerful demon that begins to terrorize the girls. One night, the demon, taking B's form, appears to Janice, saying that it wants her soul. Although she attempts to get away using a stairlift, the demon recalls the stairlift and hurls her violently down to the ground floor, leaving her severely injured and confined to a wheelchair. With Janice now confined to the first floor, her best friend Linda is now having to sleep alone and is tormented by the demon. One morning, the demon, posing as Sister Charlotte, wheels Janice into the old barn where, in the form of B, it attacks and possesses her after throwing up black bile directly into Janice's mouth. Linda notices changes in Janice's behavior and tells Samuel that Janice snuck into B's room and found the doll. Samuel immediately believes Linda and heads inside, where he comes across Janice, who can now walk. Janice transforms into the demon and brutally kills Samuel, who follows her while holding a crucifix, forcing him to drop it after moving his fingers backwards one by one. Outside, Sister Charlotte hears his screams and is horrified to find him dead on the floor. That evening, Linda takes Janice's doll and throws it into the well. A strange noise comes from the well and she is almost dragged into it, but Sister Charlotte saves her. Charlotte speaks with the disfigured Esther, who is confined to her bedroom. Esther reveals that after Bee's death, they prayed to whatever entity would grant their wish to see their daughter again. An unknown entity answered their prayer, and though they briefly saw Bee's spirit, the entity convinced them to transfer its essence into one of Samuel's crafted dolls. They happily agreed, but soon realized they had attracted a demon looking for a human host. One night, Esther saw Bee's spirit transforming into the demon, which then gouged out her eye and resulted in her wearing a half-doll-like mask to conceal her injury and the scars. Enlisting the help of priests to bless the house, they locked the doll in Bee's closet. Esther and Samuel opened their house as a shelter for orphan children to repent for their actions, but Esther now regrets it, since this has provided an opportunity for the demon to look for a human host. The demon then murders Esther and attacks Sister Charlotte. While some of the orphans are able to leave the house, Linda is trapped and hides in Bee's room as the possessed Janice tries to stab her. Sister Charlotte locks Janice and the doll inside the closet. The next day, police arrive to search the house and find only the doll, which they remove as evidence, but not before a priest blesses the home. Sister Charlotte, Linda, and the orphans are escorted away by officers to find another new home for the orphans, while Janice escapes through a hole in the closet wall and relocates to an orphanage in Santa Monica. Still possessed, she becomes reclusive and calls herself Annabelle. Pete and Sharon Higgins soon adopt Annabelle. 12 years later, after being involved in devil worship, a grown-up Annabelle returns home and murders her adoptive parents, awakening Mia, who warns John about Sharon Higgins' screams.
Demonologists Ed and Lorraine Warren confiscate the demonic Annabelle doll from nurses Debbie and Camilla. During the drive back home, the doll summons spirits to attack Ed. Annabelle is locked in a sacred glass case in the couple's artifacts room to ensure the evil is contained. Sometime later, the Warrens welcome Mary Ellen, who will be in charge of babysitting their daughter, Judy, while they travel overnight to investigate another case. At school, Judy notices a ghostly priest following her. Mary Ellen's friend, Daniela, arrives uninvited to the Warrens' home. She sneaks into the artifacts room and inadvertently releases the spirit of Annabelle B. Mullins. Annabelle releases other spirits, such as the ferryman, the bride, a Feely-Mealy board game, and the Black Shuck, and the terror begins. Mary Ellen's crush, Bob Palmieri, arrives but is attacked by the Black Shuck. Judy and Mary Ellen are confronted by other spirits. Daniela sneaks back into the house to return the artifacts room's keys. She gets locked inside and is tormented by the haunted objects. She is found in time by Judy and Mary Ellen. Judy explains that they must lock Annabelle back in her case so the other spirits will rest. Bob protects Judy from the Black Shuck as she retrieves Mary Ellen's asthma inhaler, while Daniela is possessed by the bride. Mary Ellen and Judy find the doll when the ghostly priest, acting as Judy's guardian, guides them to the ferryman. They retrieve the case's key, but struggle when the demon of the doll attacks them. Daniela recovers when Judy plays Ed's recorded footage of the bride's exorcism. After the doll is put back in the case and locked, the disturbances cease. Ed and Lorraine return the next morning. At Judy's birthday party, Daniela apologizes to Lorraine, who gives her a comforting message from her father.